I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the lives of others, doing a shot-by-shot analysis. I'm starting right at the beginning of the film. Some of the things to notice about this opening shot are the fact that the characters in the foreground are in silhouette, whereas the hallway is brightly lit, emphasizing the length that they have to go, the length of the hallway, the darkness of where they're emerging from. We go straight into a classic medium shot of Wiesler, and then followed by an insert shot of this tape recorder, which is going to be a device we return to a visual trope. We're introduced to the victim, standing. Now notice how low the camera is on Wiesler and how he doesn't make eye contact with the character who is watching him carefully. Look how much further he is away, and then we get a detail of his nervousness. Again, he's larger than the character in this medium shot, and the character is smaller. Wiesler is, because the camera's lower than him, seeming more powerful. Look how his head is at the top of the frame, whereas this guy has a lot of headroom over top of his frame. We notice the nuances of his performance, so we move it a little closer. He doesn't know exactly what Wiesler is going for, but then when he realizes where this is going, he kind of looks down in disappointment. But notice, he's very stable, and the camera, again, makes him much smaller than the person who has power. To the left of the screen, which is unusual, now we cut back to this visual trope of the recorder, which is a device that moves us between worlds over and over again in this film. The shot that we get here is a wide shot of the whole classroom, and now Wiesler's at the front of the classroom. He's standing next to the equipment, which is so important to him. Now look at the lighting, the dramatic lighting that's changed things. Again, still, Wiesler has all the power. He's much larger. The camera is even lower in terms of its position with Wiesler now than it was before. These scenes look like paintings from a medieval torture scene of some of the Christian martyrs almost. The camera pans across the classroom slowly as we feel the victim's pain, and we look at Wiesler again, looking at him. Notice that Wiesler has moved to the other side of the room, and when he marks down the man who asked the wrong question, look at the person who's asking the wrong question, the student, is on Wiesler, the torturer's side, whereas Wiesler was on the victim's side. The question and answer sides of the screen seem to be very important. Also contiguous with that tape we just saw, which had one reel full and one reel empty. Again, we move in closer as he gets more power. Now look, we switch, so we see that he's on opposite sides of the screen, and now back to the questioner, who has more in common with, emotionally, Wiesler, who is the torturer, back to Wiesler, the teacher, who is being questioned. So on some level, his work as a questioner now has moved him away from his role as an interrogator. We get this shot of what he's doing. Again, this is at nighttime, and the shaded, dramatic lighting makes this work and this insert shot even more sort of dramatic feeling. Now notice the camera has a completely different setup because we're actually inside the chalkboard in order to get that shot. But it's very important that we see Wiesler with his students before we move to the inspector, who's established right away as a loud because of the way he's looking at that woman who walks by him. When the class is empty, then we sort of get the sense of who has power in this relationship. Notice that racked focus where we moved, the camera didn't move, but the focus pull moved from one character back to the other and back to the other again. So they're both in each other's consciousness, but one is featured for us. And now finally, Wiesler saying yes. I also wanted to just point out to you the number of shots that we have actually just seen in the first 5 minutes of the film. Sort of recycling them again, and I've cut out anything that was the same camera setup. So each one of these shots that you're seeing means a whole new setup. Every setup of a camera in a film actually means an extra 2 hours of filming because you have to reset the lights. It takes that long to get all of your actors there. So sort of just seeing the amount of work that went into just this opening sequence. While these 5 minutes may have only been shot in 2 locations, the fact that we have over 26 different setups of camera and lights and had to get our cast all those locations is really quite a remarkable feat in terms of filmmaking. So thinking both about that process of filmmaking along with the images you see is a really helpful way of appreciating film more specifically and concretely in all of the work that goes into it.